I'm trying to avoid like just doing your lab for you, so I want to talk about these different concepts in a coherent way. So you have this alter table. The main thing you want to keep in mind about all this alter table stuff, uh, as opposed to like update and insert, is the whole DDL versus DML. So whenever you see alter table, you're talking about DDL, data definition language. Whenever you see the word metadata, almost all the time, I don't want to say 100% of the time, it could be some weird scenario, but metadata is data about data. So that's DDL. So these are keywords like during the exam and stuff you want to look for. Anything that talks about the structure of a table or the structure of something in your database as opposed to the actual values of the data that you're storing. Anything that talks about the bucket instead of the water. Think of it that, I don't know, well, yeah, the house instead of the people in it. However you want to imagine it. That's DDL versus DML. So if you look through the lab, there's kind of a motif there where they're always comparing the two. So I don't want to actually just show you alter table. In this case, you're adding an alter table command to add a column. I do want to point this out, though. Let's see if I still have that query here somewhere. I hope I do. Okay, I do. So this is select star on the table after you've added the column for the cell code. Notice it's all nulls. So that's how it's going to happen. You can't add a column, which is DDL, right? You're adding a whole column, a whole structure to your table with a new name and everything. We're talking about the column names, that's DDL. The fact that this is P underscore descript, that's DDL. It's the data, it's metadata. You're saying the column that all these values are in. Anyway, when you can't add the data and the column at the same time. You can't do the DDL and the DML. So you add a cell code, but you can't like add all the data in the same command. What you could do is now you can go through and do some updates or whatever. You could say update, what is this? Update product set P cell code equal to whatever the code was. I forgot. It's a letter, right? So let's say A. If you do that without a where clause, it'll make them all A's. Whatever you want to do. But do keep in mind, you also can't make it not null when you add it, because if you do, it won't work, because all the values have to be null to begin with. What you can do is add the column without specifying not null. So alter table, add this, not specifying that it can be null. So if you don't specify anything, it'll be nullable by default. Then you can add a bunch of values, which I think you do when you do the imp2 table later on in the lab. After you've got a value for everything here, then you could go back and specify that it's not null. But you have to do it in that order. Okay, so I just wanted to show you an example. It's not always adding columns and stuff. There's other alter table things. And here's one for a different lab, a different class that I had ready. So this is a check constraint. So this is a way of specifying specific values in the domain of again, it's still DDL, but you're specifying that the values can only be certain values. So first of all, I'm going to drop let me see, is it still here? This is what it looks like if you double click on the table and go to the constraints tab. It shows you what the constraints are. I'm going to go ahead and drop this one. The name of it, by the way, and I created this name, is CK check underscore fruit type. That's the name of my constraint. I'm going to drop, I'm going to drop it first. I'm going to drop it. So that constraint, drop constraint, is that already, hold on, let me pause for a second. Okay, it says I had already dropped it and forgot it. So, okay. So let me show you how this works. I have a table called fruit. Don't look at this. Let's just go ahead and do this. Select star from it. You can sort of get an idea of what the parts are, right? There's a fruit ID, a fruit name, fruit type, quantity, and a price. So let's do an update based on that. Update. The name of the table is fruit. Set. Set fruit. Oh wait, scratch that. I'm not going to update. I could update, but that's not what I want. I want to insert a whole new row. So I'm going to insert a new fruit. Insert into The name of the table is fruit. Forgot what I was doing there for a second. And then I'm going to use the version of the insert, which is just the values. The thing is, I already have an ID for this. It's a, actually, I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to use this one. I'm not going to start this video over. So let's just go with it. I'm going to use the one where you specify the column names. And the reason I'm doing that is because I have something called a sequence already defined that will automatically, it's kind of like an auto number for my primary key. So if I have that, I have to specify the column names so that they match up with the values that I'm going to specify. Otherwise, it would try, if I specify the primary key when it already has one auto-generated, I wouldn't be able to do it. So I'm going to add a new fruit. I don't know what I would call this fruit. That's the thing, type. What's the difference between a type? It's a type of apple, golden apple. Let's think of, let's say Greek. There's some kind of Greek fruit that I'm going to add. What fruit type I'm going to add? I'm going to add a fruit type of kumquat. I don't even know what that is. But I don't, it's probably not even spelled right. But I can tell you it's something, it should go in because I don't have any check constraints on this. We're going to have 4 of those, and it's going to be $1.99, whatever, per. Then, fruit name, yeah, it should be right. Let's see, make sure everything is in here correct. Oh, insert into fruit. It's in the wrong place. That's why it's giving me an error. Alright, so again, just to review how insert into works. It's insert into table name. Optionally, you can put the column headings and then match them up. Well, column headings in parentheses, the keyword values, and then the actual values that go with those column headings. So this is the data. This is the metadata over here. You can leave these out if you just put a value for every single column in the right order, but because of my auto number thing, I can't do that. I have to actually specify it, because notice the fruit ID is not here in either place because it's going to auto generate for me. So let's go ahead and run this and see if it works. Let's hope it works. Okay, 1 row inserted. Thank you. It's been a while since I actually did this table, so I wasn't sure, but I had my auto number sequence set up. So let's select the fruit again and see what fruits are in there. Alright, so you see that it added it. It added it as 210. I think I must have done a bunch of different inserts since the last time, because it goes up by 10 every time, and we're already at 210. So let me show you what the whole point of this was. I dropped the constraint that I had before. Now let's add it back. Okay, so the table has non-complying values, which makes sense, right? Because you can't have kumquat anymore. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. Let's delete. This is a good review of all this stuff too. Let's delete, not delete. Delete from fruit, not fruit, fruit where. I'm just going to do this to show you it doesn't always have to be the primary key. I'm going to do it where it's not the primary key. I'm going to say where fruit name is equal to kumquat. Keep in mind that there was more than one, not fruit name, fruit type. Keep in mind if there was more than one kumquat fruit type in here, which there could be different kinds of different, Greek, French, whatever, then it would delete all of them. Alright, now let's see if our update is correct. Keep in mind these are also all DML, so you really need to commit for it to stay after this session. If you exit the session in a normal way, I think it automatically commits. But just in case, you should commit when you're sure that, in other words, I should commit right now. But I'm being lazy. Alright. So that should make them permanent, saves them back physically to the database instead of, they're kind of hovering in memory now until I commit. That's a DML thing. Okay, so let's go back to our alter table. I'm going to add this constraint. So alter table, fruit. Fruit's the table that I'm altering. I'm going to add a constraint. I'm going to call that constraint CK fruit type. That means fruit type check constraint is the name I'm giving it. If you don't give it a name, this is optional, I think. If you don't give it a name, it'll automatically generate a weird one that's harder to get rid of. Like, I wouldn't have been able to do this as easily. I'd have to go look it up and put the random digits and stuff in there. So, alter table, table name, add the constraint. This is the name of the check fruit type, is what I call it. What is the kind of constraint? It's a check constraint. And then fruit type is the column name, and then the fruit type column has to have a value that's in one of these. So this in keyword comes up later. Sorry, got an alarm set for 10 every Monday. So this in keyword comes up later, and what it's saying is the value has to be in this list that's in parentheses. The list here is apple, orange, banana, strawberry, pineapple. If it's not one of those, then it won't allow it to be inserted. Okay, I had to shush my alarm. I'm back. So now that we've added, let's see, can we add the constraint? I got rid of the kumquat, which violates the thing that I'm trying to add. Okay, so now I've altered it. If you want to check, you can go here and double click on the fruit table, and then try refreshing it a bunch of times, and eventually it'll show it. And keep in mind, DDL, like alter, will automatically commit. You don't have to do the commit keyword. Alright, so you see I've added it back, and what we want to do now is try to do that insert. I haven't saved anywhere now, so let's go ahead and do this. These could be prepared a little better. So I'm going to try to do kumquat again, which is not one of the types of fruits. So when I try to enter it, it'll give you an error. Violated the check constraint. That's a long, drawn-out way of showing you an example of one kind of constraint that you can add with the alter keyword. There are a bunch. You can create a table without a primary key and then alter the table to add the primary key. You can add a foreign key after the fact too. Alter table, add foreign key. Let's see, check constraints, sequences. You can add a sequence but using alter, and that's a way of auto numbering your primary key instead of coming up with a unique value yourself. There's all kinds of things alter can do, but keep in mind it's all DDL, not DML, DDL. It's changing the structure of whatever it is. It's not always a table. Usually it's a table. You're changing the structure of something in your database. So that's data definition language.